child in appearance also. Where is this Surathkal, where you studied? You spent about 4 years there?
Yes, sir. I have studied 4 years there.
Now I am a stranger to Karnataka. I want you to
Okay,
tell
sir.
me, where is this Surathkal? I am in Hyderabad. Now you tell me how to go to Surathkal.
By the traveling means, you can go to Bangalore, and from Bangalore there is a directly bus, sir. Or you can catch a.
Where is the Surathkal? In which district? Is it on the Arabian Sea? Where is it?
It is near Arabian Sea, sir. Dakshina Kannada district. It is near Mangaluru. Mangaluru port.
Udupi, Mangaluru.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It is between Mangaluru and Udupi.
So it is between Mangaluru and Udupi. Mangaluru
Yes,
and Udupi themselves are hardly 20 kilometers away, I think. So,
yes, sir. It is either between the two cities.
Manipal and all that.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
very
sir.
close. Is the Surathkal right on Arabian Sea, or is it in the interior area?
Surathkal is right on Arabian Sea, sir. Even our college opens into the beach.
Very good. Very good. So you have explained, you have demystified what is the Surathkal business. So it is a coastal area, fairly close to
Yes,
Mangalore.
sir.
Okay, good,
Yes,
good.
sir.
And you studied there in 1999. When did you complete? Maybe 2-3 years ago. You are now 23.
2019, sir.
Since then, what all have you done?
I have been preparing for UPSC, sir.
Okay.
And because of the postponing of the exam, my attempt got little delayed twice,
Yeah.
both prelims and
COVID.
interviews, sir. Yes, sir.
Let us not blame the UPSC for it. It is a pandemic. So,
Yes, sir.
because of which you had greater time to prepare, and therefore you did very well in the mains, I suppose. Okay. So, is your father still working?
Yes, sir. He is working, sir.
In which department and in which geographical place?
Panchayat Raj and Rural Development, sir. He is working in State Secretariat in Commissioner Office, sir. In Tadepalli, near Vijayawada.
He lives in Tadepalli. The office is also in Tadepalli.
So we are living in Tadepalli, and office is also in Tadepalli, sir.
Oh, I see. Very good. Okay, okay. Excellent. So, your optional, what is your optional?
Anthropology, sir.
So, you are also anthropology. The previous applicant was also anthropology. Okay. So, what are the schools in which you studied? You are right from childhood. Which are the schools?
I have studied in local schools, sir.
Yeah, but where are
there
they
was
situated? They are not
Kadapa,
on
sir.
Mars. Kadapa district.
Yes, sir. Kadapa
But
district,
which
sir.
town? That's a big district. Are you on the eastern side? Rajampet or Chitwell or whatever?
Yes, sir.
Whatever. So where did you study?
I studied until my 5th standard in Chitwell, sir. Then I moved to Rajampet, and until my 10th standard I was in Rajampet, sir. These two are closer towards Chittoor district, sir.
No. They are close to Nellore district.
No.
Anyway.
The Chitwell is towards Nellore district, and Rajampet is midway between both the districts, sir.
Pormamilla from there, Rajampet, then Kodur. Kodur onwards
Yes, sir.
is close to Tirupati.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes, sir.
Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I was just trying to make you comfortable by asking you questions about areas which you might be familiar. So you appear to be quite familiar with the eastern part of Kadapa. Though you may not
Yes, sir.
know what is Simhadripuram, where is Simhadripuram, you may not even
No, Simhadripuram
Does it-
I haven't.
That's very much Kadapa district, but you may not know because that's western Kadapa, bordering
Okay.
Anantapur district. Doesn't really matter. Now, bulk of the questioning will be done by the remaining 4 panel members. My job was to make you comfortable. You appear to be reasonably comfortable. You are even smiling. Therefore, Dr. Gopal, who is from the Indian Administrative Service, he will carry on the next round of questioning. Okay? Dr. Gopal Garu.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Ms. Pooja, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, good evening to you. Now, there was a commitment from Government of India at the time of separating Telangana state, that the possibilities of establishing a steel plant in Andhra Pradesh would be examined, the feasibility studied, and so on and so forth. Is there any progress in that direction?
I'm not aware of, sir, establishment of steel plant.
Okay. Have you heard of a proposal to establish a steel plant in Kadapa district now by the state government? Your home?
No, sir, I haven't.
Okay. Okay.
Acha, by the way, sorry for interruption. Are you, were you all the while in Delhi or somewhere in some coaching center? Where have you been, or Tadepalli? Were you spending some time?
I have been on and off, sir. I was in Delhi, again came back for interview, again went to Delhi, again I came back.
Okay, where are you right now, physically?
Currently, I'm in Tadepalli, sir.
Okay.
Tadepalli.
So, can you read newspapers and all that? Local newspapers?
Yes,
I mean,
sir,
Andhra Pradesh. When I say local, I don't mean Delhi. I mean Andhra Pradesh newspaper.
I'm following Andhra Pradesh newspaper for past 1 month, sir. I haven't been following.
Okay.
That explains your ignorance about steel plant. Okay. Back to Gopal.
Yeah. So, of late, there has been a lot of privatization talk going on about disinvesting the government stakes in the public sector units. Do you know of any such public sector units where it is expected to take place? And is there any such public sector unit in Andhra Pradesh state?
Yes, sir. Actually, disinvestment plans has been being proposed by NITI Aayog for past 3 years on larger scale, sir. Currently, the hot discussion is on Vishakhapatnam steel plant, for which there was a larger furor to halt the privatization because it may affect the employees and hiring procedures, sir.
Why did they think of privatizing or disinvesting in Vishakhapatnam steel plant? What is the most important reason according to you?
Sir, I believe the better use of technology and better profitable, increase the profitability of the company are the two reasons. And actually, the current procurement of raw materials is also at a more expensive price compared to other industries. So I thought by privatizing, it may get better deals and better contracts, sir.
But do you believe that by privatizing, the raw material suppliers would sell to the proposed or post-privatized scenario, private sector steel plant will get raw material at a cheaper price?
I believe regarding the raw material reason, currently even government can make a provision for getting it at a cheaper price. And I believe the technology part is more justifiable because private entrepreneurs are more risk-taking and more capital intensive. So I believe the technology factor is more genuine reason, sir. There will be advanced technological development.
Oh. But if it is an iron ore problem for the steel plant, how can technology help in better productivity and better profits? If you know it, please tell me. Otherwise, we'll switch over.
I don't know, sir. But I have read that for raw material procurement with current government establishment can also make provisions for getting it at cheaper rates. So I thought for privatization can only get technology-wise added advantage.
I really don't know whether you know about the technology. The latest technology being employed among all the steel plants in India is that of the Vishakhapatnam steel plant. Rashtriya Ispat Nigam Limited.
Yeah, okay.
And they're very good quality.
Yeah.
Okay, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Okay. Now tell me, there are 3 important wings in the state, in the country. 3 important wings and pillars. What are they?
Legislature, executive, and judiciary, sir.
Yeah. So we have been hearing that sometimes the executive is trying to influence the judiciary and browbeat judiciary. Sometimes we hear that the judiciary is interfering in executive. So have you come across any such instances of executive trying to browbeat and put pressure on them and vice versa?
Yes, sir.
Tell me.
Executive has both direct and indirect influences on judiciary, sir. Directly, it is altering the appointments. For example, the collegium has proposed more than 70 appointment posts, and executive has altered them. These are direct hindrances to the judicial working, sir. But indirect hindrances are the mostly public opinions and public apprehensions that executive influence might be playing in the background. Like our past Chief Justice of India, when being when being appointed as Rajya Sabha MP, there was a public furor that it wasn't right, and it hampers judicial independence.
Mhm. But when there
So
are, yeah, okay, carry on.
yes.
Yeah, tell me.
So I believe that by having such posts or some incentives to the judicial people after retirement may set wrong precedents, or may give wrong directions in judicial delivery procedure.
Now, when there are so many vacancies in, say, the heads of public sector undertakings, for instance, the reason why a new chief has been posted, Mallika Srinivasan, as PESB chief, Public Enterprises Selection Board chief. Similarly, there are several vacancies in several government departments, they are without heads. Do you think keeping some vacancies of judiciary amounts to interference of executive in the judiciary's functioning?
No, sir. I believe the vacancies is not the actual thing I was intended to. There were there were some appointments or collegium recommendations which were rejected by government with no written reason or with no evident reason, sir. Even though there is no clear understanding why the procedure was stopped. So I believe that is an indirect mechanism to control judiciary. So it is not about filling up the vacancies. It is about rejecting the recommendations which were offered by collegium.
But is
It should be more objective mode of rejection or selection, sir.
But is it not the subjective satisfaction of the President of India that makes him take a decision either to accept or reject?
Constitutionally, it is up to the President's satisfaction, sir.
Okay.
But for public to retain faith in both judiciary and executive, I believe there needs to be an objective and transparent reasons to be posted or mentioned.
I want to provoke you. Is this so-called collegium a constitutional body?
No, sir. Collegium hasn't been constitutional body, but it has been became a convention over three judges cases. So originally it was not mentioned in the constitution, but over Supreme Court judgments, it has been decided that collegium concurrence is necessary, sir.
So the Supreme Court has decided that the members of the Supreme Court shall be appointed by the Supreme Court itself, and the executive or the president, the head of the country, need not have any decisive say. What we say, you bloody well obey. Is that a fair role that has been assigned by the judiciary, especially Supreme Court, by the Constitution? Is it a correct
Sir,
role?
I agree with you. It has both the sides, sir. Actually, it has advantage by keeping judiciary independent, because judiciary is the one which finally upholds the Constitution. So it shouldn't have any political influences. But there is also a drawback to this system, that executive is prohibited, or executive is deprived of its main thing, appointments. And the second thing is, there is an increasing nepotism in Supreme Court because of this procedure, sir. So I believe it has also backside.
Because of the collegium.
Yes, sir. Because of collegium.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, you use the right word. You use the right, sir, with the
carry on.
Use the right word, because traditionally there has been lots of criticism that the senior advocates and judges in some high courts, especially Uttar Pradesh and so on, are the grandson and the great grandson of the judicial families. So you are right when you said, certain nepotism also has gone into, and it's expected to go. All right. Let's now talk about the 73rd and 74th amendments to the Constitution of India, wherein the functions, functionaries, and funds are expected to be devolved on the Gram Panchayats, Panchayat Raj institutions, according to the first amendment, the 73rd amendment, and urban areas in 74th. Now, in Andhra Pradesh, you have village secretariats, staff discharging so many functions there. Do you really think that this kind of arrangement of village secretaries and village volunteers has satisfied that requirement of the constitutional amendment to devolve these three on the Gram Panchayats?
Yes, sir. Actually, the evolved system in Andhra Pradesh has been very robust, sir, and it is been evolving. Like our recent addition to this with ward secretaries and volunteers has been acclaimed even countrywide, sir. But there are definitely many backlogs regarding finances devolution and also functions devolution. Like though there are many functions which have been devolved, there is no direct independence for the local functionaries to execute them on directly. And second thing is they don't have complete, as far as ground reality, what I observe is, because my father is in the similar department, what I observe is there are so many times there is a mismatch in commanding, like there are lapses in hierarchy of commands, and there is also so many times misclarity in commands, which is really burdening the work, and there is less effectiveness because of that, sir.
So these functionaries in the secretariat, do they directly report to the elected representative called the Sarpanch or no?
No, sir, they don't report to the
therefore, these are not devolving. These functions or funds are not directly devolving even now on the rural local bodies. Is that what you want to say?
No, sir. Okay, sir. I agree with that point, but I wanted to say from the district collector level, when there is some mission or there is some scheme which has to be implemented, there are multiple corrections and there are multiple miscoordination between the secretaries and between the officers, sir. Okay. So it leads to so many lags.
Okay. This scheme of the government of Andhra Pradesh, this Amma Odi, for instance, paying some money to the mothers, has it really succeeded in ensuring that the enrollment of children going to schools has gone up as desired? Any information, idea?
I don't have statistical idea about this, sir. But
under what conditions is this money paid? Do you have any idea?
Yes, sir. The mother has to register thrice prenatally and during delivery, and after the birth, she has to make a birth certificate out of it. I'm not sure, sir. I have read it. Currently, I'm not able to recall. There are 3 conditions.
No, but Amma Odi scheme, where the children are supposed to be sent to school, doesn't happen before birth or immediately after birth, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, for studying engineering, now AICTE says, no, you don't have to study mathematics, physics, and all that stuff. Is it a sound policy decision, according to you?
No, sir. I believe math and physics, chemistry, like it is very varied, sir. If AICTE has to rule out, it may have to ask children to choose the stream of engineering before they really get the chance. It really hampers the streamlining, sir. So I believe math, physics, and chemistry are 3 subjects are required until the student gets to choose which stream he has to go, sir.
But in the new educational policy, unlike present, where in 11th class, 12th class, you have to choose whether you want to be MPC stream, BPC stream, commerce stream. But in the new education policy from next year, you don't have to choose any stream. So how do you choose at the time of going in for engineering?
Sir, I'm sorry, sir. I'm not aware of this provision of new education policy, sir.
Okay, you're not aware. All right, no problem. Now, the civil servants are often criticized, in our country. So, what are the actual, since you are going to join the civil services, what are the challenges that the civil servants face these days?
Sir, of course, there are many challenges. Two main challenges what I see are tying the hands of the civil services is, one is there is two ways, like there is lack of risk-taking behavior due to less independence given or lot of accountability for each and every step of action taken. And the second thing is political influence, which of course needs a political support. Influence is acting in sometimes in a bad way, sir. So these two are primary reasons which are hampering the capacity of civil servants.
So, what is being done to enhance the capacity of the civil servants so that they don't they don't get influenced by the politicians and they become professionals? What initiatives have been brought in by the government of India?
Actually, regarding statutorily, there are good laws like Whistleblowing Protection Act and Right to Information Act, which empowers the civil servants to find point out any problems in the hierarchical mechanism or the problems. And there is also newly we have Mission Karam Yogi, sir, which is helping civil servants to enhance their professional and personal skills, which will make them more effective persons to handle the activities.
Okay. Okay. Finally, before I hand over to my colleague, what are the general problems associated with urbanization in India?
Urbanization.
And what schemes have been contemplated to solve these problems to a great extent?
Urbanization, as we see, it has problems of inequality, which led to slums development, sir. Slums development gradually led to improper living conditions for the people dwelling there, and also crime rate. And the next thing is regarding poor urban planning. There is a lot of urban disasters like urban floods and urban heat waves, sir. And yes, sir, recently we have seen, because of urbanization and because of poor facilities for them, there is a lot of reverse migration thing happening during situations like pandemic. The schemes which have been provided for them are there are schemes regarding government like Prime Minister Awas Yojana, which are facilitating houses for them, Urban Awas Yojana, and there is also new scheme. I don't recall the name, sir, but they are providing apartment kind of rental residencies
housing.
for all, rental houses for all the migrants. And the second thing is one nation, one ration for migrants who are residing temporarily in urbanization. Regarding urban disasters, there are good disaster recognizing schemes, and like sea flows by Chennai, which is for recognizing urban floods early, and smart cities program, which is empowering cities to connect.
All right. You are aware. Okay. Vivek Garu. Vinapatలేదు Vivek Garu.
Unmuted, sir.
Now.
Yeah. Okay, Pujita.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. Good evening.
Pooja.
You were in Delhi for some time, and we have heard a lot about Delhi's Delhi administration's free water supply, free power supply, and all that. And there is also a section of people who think that too much of pampering of the citizens and voters and their political constituency is being developed and all that. So
Yes.
I would like to know, how do we draw the line between freebies and welfare? Am I audible?
Sir. Yes, sir. You are audible, sir.
Yeah.
Regarding,
have you heard the question?
Yes, sir. I have heard the question, sir. Regarding this free subsidies and free supplies to the public, there currently government is facilitating these offers to provide more inclusion to avoid any eligible person to get excluded, sir. But there can be
No, please come back. Please come back. There is some disruption.
Yes, sir. Am
Please
I
come
audible,
back.
sir? Am I audible, sir?
Ah, it's not smooth. There is jerk.
But we are able to
Now you
hear
are
her.
frozen.
Yeah, I am able to hear also.
Okay, if you can speak, it's fine.
Okay, sir.
Your video
Currently,
is
am I
frozen.
audible, sir? Okay, sir.
You
Sir,
are
am I
audible to
audible
some.
now?
Yeah.
Okay, sir. Shall I continue, sir?
Vivek garu, you
Ah.
are not audible.
And battery down అయిపోయినట్టు.
Oh,
Vivek's.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, now you are okay.
Yeah.
Are you able
Okay.
to hear?
Yeah, please.
Hear?
Shall I continue, sir?
Please do. Please do.
Yes, sir. Regarding the free provision of water and electricity and bus rides in Delhi, the provision though has been alleged as popularistic, it was also one good provision that it is not excluding people, sir. Delhi with a large number of people with varied income levels needs that to avoid any exclusions. I would like to quote PDS. It is also trying maximum to include, sir. Regarding Delhi, to give better streamline these resources, I can believe one thing can be done regarding water and electricity. Electricity is already following the bracket level of unit charge rate regarding industrial area, household area. So it will be also easier to the government to demarcate slum areas, demarcate poor household areas, to have a lower bracket rate and higher bracket rate accordingly. So this way we can streamline both electricity and water rates, but I cannot think of anything for bus fare rates, sir.
No, you see, what I meant was, by what criterion do we distinguish between, or rather demarcate between freebies and welfare?
Okay.
What is an ideal freebie and what is welfare?
Okay.
So by what criterion you will apply to decide that something should be given free or something should be done as a measure of welfare? Conceptually. Can't hear you. No, can't hear you.
You used to be very clear, but now you are not.
Poor signals.
I apologize, sir.
Not
Hey,
your
don't
fault.
be- They are not at all your fault.
Am I audible right now, sir?
We can manage to hear you. Go ahead. Let's see.
Yes, sir. If we would must be having qualities like must be at most essential, sir. There
No,
is a
no,
higher
no.
risk of
No.
No.
No chance.
Breaking.
Sorry. I don't know.
You open your Windows doors so that the signals are better to your mobile phone. Yeah. I do the same thing at home.
Am I audible?
Yes. A little bit.
Somewhat better.
Yeah, now we are better.
Shall I continue, sir?
Please do.
Yes, sir. A free good must be the good which is of utmost importance, and it has more risk of exclusion than risk of revenue loss due to inclusion. So I feel the free good must be something like a food, water, or of current scenario, I believe vaccine should also be of a free good, sir.
Okay, now talking on this issue, we have also heard about
Sir, I apologize, I cannot hear.
Sorry?
She is not able to hear you.
Oh, anyway, now I'm also now trying to, power is just restored. I'm also trying to log in again.
Yeah, you're okay. Your voice is okay.
Okay, but Pujita, what's the problem at your end?
Sir, I cannot hear you. Can I get it again, sir? Sorry, sir.
Okay, I'll come back. Now, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Oh, okay. Now on this issue of freebie versus welfare, we have heard of the previous Tamil Nadu government giving mixies, grinders, and ceiling fans and stuff like that, including the Mangal Sutra for women. Now, by what criteria can you actually distinguish between the two? That was my question.
Yes, sir. Regarding the Tamil Nadu government's giving of these things are obviously not eligible for free goods, sir, because these
Okay,
are
good. Okay.
shall I- so these
Yeah,
are not
please,
eligible
please.
to be given as public goods, free goods, and these are definitely I see as a populistic policies, sir.
Okay, okay, good. Now we have just seen so many elections, happening in our country, and
Yes, sir. Yes,
there are also issues of electoral bonds.
yes, sir.
Have you heard of electoral bonds?
Yes, sir. I have
Now,
heard of.
can you give me some idea of the legitimacy of these bonds?
Yes, sir.
Is it a good thing to have happened, or is there any downside to it, or is there a lot of merit in making the hello? Is there
Yes,
is there any merit in making this electoral bonds legal? What exactly is your idea of?
yes, sir. Electoral bonds have been introduced with a good intention of bringing anonymity to the funds being transferred, sir. So, so
Okay.
as to avoid crony capitalism from the party which is ruling, so that to provide a better level field, sir. But what are the problems that have arose later after introduction is the bonds though are anonymous, the lists are not even the lists are like even the most of like more than 90% of the funds are in larger denominations, and more than 90% of the funds have gone to the ruling party. And one more speculation is that SBI is a state held bank, and SBI knows who are the owners of the electoral bonds. So there is no guarantee that SBI is not sharing it with the government. So yes, sir.
Okay. One minute. Let me close. Now, did you at any time cast your vote?
No, sir, I haven't cast. I unfortunately it collided with my my final exam schedule of my final year, sir.
I see. Okay. No, it says can't start video. Why?
Sir,
I don't know.
hello.
Okay. Right. Anyway, audio is fine. Now, you studied anthropology for your mains.
Yes, sir.
I often hear about this one that tribes should be left to themselves and there should be no assimilation into the mainstream.
Yes, sir.
As one who read anthropology, what is your view on this issue? Should they be left to, they live the life they like, or should they be some kind of white man's burden like issue?
I believe it has two options, sir, like two dimensions of the same option. First thing is we should leave it to their choice, sir, to get assimilated, to borrow the culture of the neighboring areas, to get into mainstream. Second thing is they should also be informed of existing government, existing structures, so that they are aware of what rights they can get, they are aware of what privileges can get, so they can make an informed choice. For this, I have an example where Vishakhapatnam and other areas of Andhra Pradesh, the people have been taken to High Court, Hyderabad, and show High Court legislature area to make them know that they are part of a bigger government, sir. So I liked what they have done. So I
Mhm.
believe they should be let known of the system.
Okay. Okay. Sanjana garu. Sri Pooja, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
You're audible.
Okay. So you got first prize in the science fair.
Yes, sir.
So congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So science is very, very crucial for us. And India
Yes,
is
sir.
proud of being the third largest manpower in science and technology. My question
sir.
is, Pooja, we got the Nobel Prize as long back as 1931. But now,
sir.
till now, from India, we didn't get a prize in Nobel. We didn't get a Nobel Prize in science. Now
Yes,
tell
sir.
us, what is the reason why our scientists are unable to get a Nobel Prize in science and technology?
Yes, sir. Uh, One thing is there is regarding pure science, there is a very little research going on, or there is very little motivation going on towards pure science, sir. Though India has been pioneering in engineering and technology, and science has been India's stronghold, sir. Regarding our IISc Bangalore has still now stood as a first place, but apart from that, there is no bigger institute which is pioneering in science, sir. And regarding in from other countries and our countries, there are very little job opportunities, or the stipends are much lesser than what an engineer would get as a job taker, sir. So it is economically not lucrative for a person to pursue science as profession. So it is completely passion driven for people. So there is very little pool of people coming in, sir.
So is there anything to do with their attitude of the people?
Yes, sir. Actually, regarding attitude of the people, it has to be done before 12th class, sir, because that is where they can change into the science or technology field. So it has to do with lot of tests or a lot of scholarships. One of the good things I know about this is there is Kishore Vaidyanik Protsahak Yojana, sir, KVPY, which offers a scholarship to the student only if he joins BSc or MSc, sir.
Okay.
So I believe such kind of things will help.
What we observe is most of the scientists, before they start any program, so they go to a temple, break a coconut, and they are so religious, isn't it?
Sir, yes.
So do you expect these people to become the Nobel laureates?
Sir, definitely, sir. Religion is a matter of faith, sir.
Yeah. What is wrong with our scientists?
Sir, wrong with our scientists must be because of lack of lot of time, because of lack of any achievements. There must be a lack of that quantum gap which they have to make for the confidence, sir, or to make anything which is highly innovative.
So it's not only for the scientists, for all the other people also. Our forefathers thought that it's better to have scientific temper.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they brought it in the form of the fundamental duties. So what is the article in which this is incorporated? Have you got an idea?
40. Yes, sir. 48. I have forgotten, sir. I think 48.
It's
48.
okay. It's okay. It's 51 AH. Okay.
51. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Then you also got school people leader. What is the school people leader? What exactly is concept?
Sir, school people leader generally actually holds the assembly and organizes the people until the assembly, and does activities if anything comes up during the course of the day, sir. But as my school is smaller, I had a bigger role to play because they have given me like independence to do. So I used to do quizzes kind of things, and I used to do things
So
which
you-
used to engage
So you
lower
also
class
used
people,
to teach
sir.
the students. So your
Yes, sir.
teaching is your
I have been teaching students.
okay. Still
Yes,
you
sir.
are
Since
teaching.
schooling, I have been teaching.
Okay.
Currently, earlier it was hobby. Currently, I am doing on online for pocket money, sir.
Excellent. Okay. That's a good thing. Sri Pooja, so
Yes,
your
sir.
father is a Panchayat Raj and a Rural Development Officer.
Yes, sir.
Tell us how Panchayat Raj has given a lot of empowerment for the women. How it has given the empowerment to the women. Can you,
Yes, sir.
yeah, please tell us.
The basic constitutional provision of giving 33% reservation to the women is a big boost to the women, sir.
Hmm.
And because of actually Panchayat Raj is the local body government which engages with all the schemes on lower level like Asha, ANMs and Anganwadi. The Panchayat Raj has been in good contacts and providing support to them, sir. So in both the ways, which is scheme wise and also the constitutional wise of Panchayat Raj itself, it has provided women good boost. But there is also a backdrop that women role is being bypassed, sir.
But most of the times what we observe is that these people, so though the ladies were elected for the post, but
Yes, sir.
their husbands and their kids, they are taking care of, not the women. So is it the real
Yes, sir.
empowerment?
Yes, sir. That's what I was talking. I believe education is the factor which matters here, sir. Unless women is educated and has a little of financial independence at least, then she can make or she can be assertive of her decisions, sir.
Very good. Sri Pooja, did you hear the term called caste mobility from your
Yes, sir.
anthropology background? Can you throw any
Yes,
light
sir.
on that? What exactly
Caste
is this?
mobility. Yes, sir. Caste mobility is the ability for a caste to move in the ladder of hierarchy, sir. It may happen in two ways. One is psychological, two is according to records, sir. According to records, earlier in the 1911 census, from 1911 census almost until 1971, there were many castes which claimed as higher castes, showing historical mythologies. This is the way they have mobilized on records. And the second thing, psychological, is Sanskritization, sir, where they imitate the acts and rituals of higher castes to make them look equal to the upper caste. Sir.
So in our Indian society, we got so many linguistic groups.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there is one linguistic group which is known as Astro-Asiatic linguistic group of people in India.
Yes, sir.
So who exactly are the people and where are they?
The Astro-Asiatic concentrates in the northern tips of Andhra Pradesh to Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and the central to eastern area, sir.
Can you name some of the people there? Some of the tribes?
Santals, Gonds.
Goats come
Yes,
under
sir.
that category?
I believe, sir. I don't remember, sir. Santal, Gonds, Mundas. Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the people. Okay, you all also heard about Indus Valley civilization. Did you hear
Yes,
that?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I have heard.
So this is also known as by some other name that is called Harappa.
Civilizations.
Harappa civilization.
Harappa and Mohenjo-daro civilization also.
Okay. So first of all, it is called Harappa, then it's IVC. Now
Yes, sir.
between these two terms called the IVC and Harappa, which term or which word do you like and why?
Personally, I like Harappan civilization because I have been familiar with it from my childhood, sir. Indus Valley has been introduced to me later, but I feel nominally Indus Valley civilization is more apt because geographically it is more apt, sir.
Okay. So tell us, what are the practices still continuing in the present Indian society? Can you name some practices?
From Harappan civilization, sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Bangle wearing, sir.
Hmm.
Pottery making.
Okay.
And the Tribanga posture, which is considered continued in many classical dances, and rituals, burial rituals, which may not have been so equally elaborate but continued the same format. Yes, sir, that's it. And phallus worship has been continued as Shivlinga, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Sri Pooja. Sir, Somashekar.
Thank you, sir.
Somasekhar garu.
Sri Pooja, you have studied at the NIT in Suratkal.
Yes,
Very
sir.
interestingly, I think one of the more recent NITs is in Tadepalligudem, which is the 31st. 31st. Now,
Yes,
please
sir.
tell me what are the differences between NIT and IIT. And now there is a triple IT also. Hello.
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 Did you hear the question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. No,
Hello.
sir. It was gone for the entire question. I'm sorry, sir.
No, I said you studied at the
Hello?
NIT Suratkal. Can you hear now?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear?
Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
No, I
sir.
said
I can hear you, sir.
I said you studied at the NIT in Suratkal. So there are
Yes, sir.
nearly 31 of these NITs now in the country. And the latest being in your
Yes, sir.
own various, Tadepalligudem.
Yes.
There are also IITs.
Yes, sir.
Now there is something else called triple ITs.
IITs.
Triple IT.
IIIT.
IIIT.
Yes, sir.
So can you tell me what is the difference
Yes, sir.
between NIT
Triple
and
ITs.
Anyway, wait for the question to be over. Pooja. Pooja, are you able to hear
Okay,
me? Pooja, are you able to hear me?
I can hear. Yes, sir. I can hear you, sir.
Yeah, no, essentially what difference do you feel there between IITs and NITs?
Okay, sir. Shall I continue? Shall I
Yeah.
start the answer, sir?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. IITs and NITs has a difference of both the level of faculty and level of research going on, sir. And that is, while that is subject to the amount of grants being transferred and amount of funds are higher to IIT, and even the technology, if there has to be a major technology like a supercomputer or a nanotechnology or electron microscope, these are being installed at IITs, sir. And there next comes the hierarchically NITs, which has equally good technology, but there are little differences in the amount of research going on and the citations being published. Triple IT also same, sir. But there are few NITs, like 4 or 5 of them, and there are triple ITs, 2 or 3 of them, which are on par with IITs currently, sir.
Do you think the location of these NITs has been a disadvantage? Like, IITs are in the main metros, whereas NITs, Suratkal, Warangal, there are different regions. Was it a disadvantage?
No, sir, it hasn't been disadvantaged, sir. I believe NITs NITs have been established as a next hierarchical thing earlier, but now it was earlier established to increase the geographical distribution of engineering institutions. Now, even IIT Guwahati and IIT Kanpur are being good, sir, because of the IIT designation. NITs will also have to improve their research level and the citations or the technology, so that it will be mutual, sir. Funds will be mutual, research will be mutually growing, sir.
Do you find NIT as a good brand? Like, globally everybody talks about IIT as a brand. Have you felt NIT as a brand that is drawing attention, drawing some dividend?
Yes, sir. Earlier, NIT had a little awareness because there were very less number of students going from the other states. It was mostly from the home state. Now, because of higher awareness, there is lot of awareness among the people about the NIT, and there are people who are trying and pursuing to get into NIT.
What is the old name of NIT?
regional engineering college, sir.
Right.
So they existed right from 50s.
Yes.
So
Yes,
how
sir.
do you say that? How do you say that the RECs did not have students from other states?
Yes, actually, JEE means when they have included this 50% home state and 50% other state cadre, it has limited the home state cadre to 50%. So allowing the students from other states to get more admissions too, sir. So I believe, I am not sure, sir. I believe this encouraged more students to get into NITs.
Anyway, I think now getting to entrepreneurship and some startups and all this. How do you look at the opportunities for women? Are they doing well? Are there any limitations? Are there any problems? Because you don't find many startups run by women, many entrepreneurships and all that. Do you have any thoughts on that to improve?
The schemes being proposed for women are very good, sir. Regarding Startup India scheme and Stand Up India scheme, we are promoting Indian women for getting into entrepreneurship. But the backlogs are from the college level and from the levels beneath. One is psychological, sir. Second is even second is the way they are being treated regarding participation, sir. For a ground example, I would like to quote a popular campaign in all NITs and IITs which go to extend the block timings for women, which is very much required because it is usually observed that the boys all stay up in the laboratories until the late night, while women are asked to return to the rooms at 10:30. So by providing psychological glass ceiling there itself, we are limiting the women. And even after college level, it is always asked by the women to settle into more job secure positions than entrepreneur positions.
No, but computers and modern technology, I think, can reduce this to an extent, isn't it? You can choose areas where you can do very well. Most of the emerging technologies don't need you to be in an external environment also.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Actually, increasing artificial intelligence and services sector will help women to grow from their own environments, sir.
Coming back to Andhra Pradesh, I would just like to read out that the majority of the schemes in the present government, they come from the manifesto and are women-centric. For
Yes,
example, my sister mentioned about Amma Odi. Okay,
yes, sir.
then there is a rupees 50,000 annually under DWCRA. Then 75,000 rupees for women over 45. All the reserved categories. Then for marriage support of rupees 1 lakh. So there are a lot of these women-centric schemes that the government has announced. Do you feel all this will lead to empowerment, sustenance? How do they impact? Is it short-term? Is it long-term? Is it only politics? How do you look at these women-centric schemes as a driver of growth, or is it sustenance, or is it politics?
Sir, it is it has all the three dimensions, sir. But I would like to talk about if it is short term or it will sustain for longer. It is as these are financial grants, they will give the right amount of stimulus. Women need to come out and explore the opportunities. And this for the long term, there needs to be change in institutional mechanism, and there needs to be behavioral change, sir. So it has to be mutual so that this development can sustain, so that this financial grant can be gradually withdrawn when the sufficient stimulus has been given, sir.
Okay, one more, on the science, I find you are done a lot of science fairs. You are a scholarship holder, National Science Talent Examination. It's a very, very tough exam.
Yes, sir.
And but you look at science education, you yourself have said it's not in good shape. People don't the reason some site is this engineering has taken away a lot of sheen out of BSc, MSc and all that. And jobs
Yes, sir.
further in IT have killed, science. And the words of our Bharat Ratna CNR Rao, he once, in a pit of rage, he said that if you have to meet a scientist in Bangalore, you will have to go to the Visvesvaraya Institute of Technology and Museum. So that was the state of affairs in Bangalore. Anyway, the things are not
Yes,
so
sir.
bad. But my question is, now given your skill sets of teaching, participating in science fairs, and also excited about science, given an opportunity in a district where you are a collector in schools, how would you promote, excite students to science in schools? Any methods that you would adopt?
Yes, sir. What particularly excited me in school towards science was experiments, sir. In most of the schools, though there is science laboratory, it has been done as a mandatory thing to take students to lab like once in a week or once in a month. But there is no real-time experiments. Even without resources, we can actually do experiments with limited resources, sir. Like for teaching a sound chapter, we just need is a compass box and a rubber band. We can teach it very good, sir. So I believe teaching that kind of skills with minimum resources, also how to excite students towards the science. It is mostly practical and experiment based, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Very good. Pooja,
Okay, sir.
the mock personality test is over,
Thank you so much.
and we have taken a very long time.
The connection was interrupting.
That could be one of the reasons, but otherwise also we found you very interesting. We
Thank
found
you,
you to be so interesting that we thought it is worth getting to know a little more. Anyway, so now that it is all over, we'll give you our respective feedback. I'll start with mine. Then the other members will give their perspective of your personality. Initially, I was totally misled by your youthful looks and childish voice. But beneath that or behind that is a very well-informed, balanced person. You certainly are extremely well-informed, and you are very balanced, and you have a very good worldview. I am, of course, intrigued as to how you developed all this without much exposure, at least according to your own admission. Till you went to Surathkal, you are mostly a product of eastern parts of Kadapa. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But you have done a lot of learning, and your observations are also very good. Your communication skills are extraordinary. Normally, you don't find such kind of communication skills among engineers. But certainly, you may have to work on some few areas. The only area where I am a little confident that you need to work on is becoming aware of the fact that what you read in media, what, for example, the judges go on speaking, is not necessarily the truth. CJ, Mr. Bob Day, who just retired, who went on complaining about not filling vacancies, has not made a single recommendation during his 18-month tenure. He just could not make up his mind,
Okay,
or he could not get unanimity in collegium. And during his time, not a single name was recommended. All the names that are now under consideration are those which were sent by his predecessor or grand predecessor. both of whom are not really worthy of being spoken with great respect. Especially, both of them were sons of chief ministers. I don't know whether you're aware. Deepak Mishra was indeed a son of chief minister, and his Pedanana, his father's elder brother, was CJI when he was picked up from an ordinary lawyer and made a judge of the Kotak High Court or Orissa High Court. And of course, the less we speak about Gogoi, a man who was morally depraved, and he tried to be his own judge and prosecutor.
Jury.
So, jury also. Of course, Bob Day was largely overcome by his fascination for RSS and BJP. He's from Nagpur, which is the headquarters of RSS. His family has ties with RSS, and therefore he could not really assert when it was necessary for the Supreme Court to assert on its role. So maybe you need to, when you communicate your views, you have to couch them, you have to veil them in some kind of a saying there is one perspective like this, there is another perspective like that. Don't go on believing that all the ills of judiciary are because of not filling a vacancy. In any case, I don't know whether you are aware or not, all the trial courts means where exactly justice is done. The lower judiciary, the courts of the magistrates, the district courts, etc., are totally under control of the high courts. The recruitment of these sub-judges and district judges, or even civil judges, grade 2, the lowest direct entry, is not done by the State Public Service Commission. It is done by the high courts themselves. And who is to blame if they don't do the recruitment, and if 50% of all the vacancies are remaining vacant? It's because they are not interested. They're just not interested. They are interested in their own aggrandizement of the crumbs of office and their own personal gain. So you may have to be a little more practical and become aware of the truth. That's all. Otherwise, you're an excellent material, very, very impressive. And I genuinely hope that God will bless you with membership in the IAS, and you do become a district collector of one of these districts, either Rayalaseema district or Coastal Andhra district. Now, my fellow members, they will give their perspective, starting with Sri Gopal Garu.
Yes, sir.
Charya.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, as Pooja, I agree with what the chairman has said completely, and would also like to say that when you are not hesitating to open up your strong views, what the chairman said becomes absolutely much more important, where you have to take both the sides of a coin and then present the views instead of sticking to one view when you are opening up on controversial issues. So that's what I wanted to supplement. Otherwise, your answers are very complete, full, comprehensive. Instead of answering like you answer to quiz questions, your answers start with the background and analysis and conclusion. Each of them I have noticed to the questions put by other panelists. Very complete answers. I appreciate that. Keep it up. Continue to do that. Just one or two pieces of information that you should know based on the questions that I have put. One, I wanted to know about Vishakhapatnam steel plant. You said you know about privatization and some of the issues related to it. And I also wanted to know about your understanding of Kadapa steel plant, which is now in the offing, according to newspapers. Okay, which is in an advanced stage, a joint venture. Why I wanted you to know about this is that, in the same state, the government, the chief minister writes to government of India to protect Vishakhapatnam steel plant, asking for captive mines to be allotted to Vishakhapatnam steel plant to make them profitable. And in the same breath, starting another steel plant in Kadapa as a joint venture with SR without any captive mine, and trying to enter into an agreement with NMDC for supply of iron ore. So how is this expected to be, feasible economically and financially, then Vizag steel plant without a captive mine is not feasible economically and financially. It's not viable.
It is
So
at least closer. It is at least closer to
Bailadilla.
Kirandul and Bacheli, which are the world's largest hematite ores.
Yeah.
Whereas Kadapa is nowhere near.
So you should understand this implication of it. Nothing, not that you should know about it. Thirdly, the Vishakhapatnam steel plant staff are on a unique path of agitation now. Earlier, the unions started striking, saying that, don't privatize. Now, of late, I understand, and I also understand from people who are there, that the productivity levels have improved substantially, and the steel plant is making operating profits. The steel plant has achieved a record production ever since 80s, 90s, in the recent past, to demonstrate to Government of India that don't privatize it, we are there to help our plant, and we can improve, we have the capacity to improve the productivity, but reduce your interest burden from 14% to something else, convert into equity or something, or issue shares to common people by converting the debt into equity, things like that. So you must understand these dimensions, not as a matter of information, but you will understand how things are moving. Generally in the country, argument of convenience. So that will help you in taking a very informed stand about controversial questions. That is one. Two is about, Ammavadi I asked, okay, that's okay. But why I asked was, it's not going to improve the attendance. The money is paid only if attendance is some minimum 75%. If it is recorded, the money is paid. Otherwise, it's not paid. Okay. It's not paid to all the mothers. It is conditional. And that is what you should know about, because you are from Andhra Pradesh state. Okay. Then some intervention about, I think you are not a school people's leader. I never heard it.
Pupil, P-U-P-I-L.
P-U-P-I-L. Everywhere, maybe you would have typed wrongly there. It's a pupils leader generally, unless you have a special, you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
All right.
See, those who are studying in schools are not people.
Yeah, pupil.
They are pupils, students. So
yeah.
They have become, one of them has been chosen as a leader.
Yeah.
So you are the school pupils leader, not people.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
Pupils.
Yeah. And finally, some other supplementation of information. You mentioned about IAS. I thought I should also tell you that recently they have also started IISERs, Indian Institute of Science and Research, Education Research, Science Education and Research at some places, 6 or 7 places, including Tirupati, our own state. So it will take these institutions to produce good researchers and maybe make them eligible for inventions, Nobel Prizes. Now, this is what I wanted to say. Otherwise, I'm impressed with your performance and you are very promising. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Vivek Garu.
For a first timer, in the first attempt, the level of your awareness and also the content with which you are responding to questions posed to you, you are really, I must say, outstanding. You have great clarity on the issues that you are speaking about, be it electoral bonds, be it freebies and welfare. Except that I had to repeat that question again so that you get a clarity on what I am trying to ask. But then finally you came out that ultimately it is the fiscal space that is that is to be kept in view, and which should decide. And of course, freebies and welfare they can be easily be distinguished. Freebies typically they create political consequences, whereas welfare is something which is basic. Okay, so I have nothing much to point out, in terms of making up or additional study that you may have to do. Maybe because the way today this technology operated, the voice wasn't really that clear. But then I think I can guess that you speak with a lot of moderation, with modulation, and finally, I can only wish you good luck, and you have immense potential to be in the merit list. All the
Thank you,
best.
sir.
Sachinanda garu.
Sri Pooja.
Yes, sir.
So I agree with our co-panelists' feedback on your potential and very positive aspects. Okay. Agreeing with those things, I would like to add a few items for your betterment.
Yes.
So what I want to say is, listen to the question.
Okay.
Think and how much is to be given. You're a teacher, you know pretty well the crux of the issue. Okay, don't go. For example, when I talk about the science, so you are going on and on. So my questions are very, very simple. Because you started with diffidence, but you pick up the speed in the middle of the interview, and you came out very well. At the end of the interview, you did very well. So what I observe is your teaching skills came to your rescue, and you are a very good fluent speaker. So we have observed all these things. But in the process, you are going. But what is important is make yourself listen to the question and see why this question is asked. Such a simple question. So they are not bigger questions. I asked you very simple questions. So you must think yourself that why these simple questions to me are being asked. Okay. So when I ask finally where it is incorporated, the fundamental duties. So you are giving an article. If you are not clear, you just say I don't get it, sir. So, but don't
Actually,
give the.
it's with numbers, sir. So it was 8 numbers. So I told 48.
Okay, it's not. It's only to make you aware that instead of giving a wrong answer, if you are doubtful, you say, I don't know, sir. It shows your intellectual integrity. Okay, that's a very good trait instead of giving a wrong answer. And of course, as far as the pupils leader, Sir has already clarified. Coming, yes. Yeah, please take care of, because such questions may come. Other aspect is about the teaching. So here I want to give a bit of advice to you. So you gave very honestly that I am teaching for money or pocket money like that. Okay,
Yes.
but
That's
but be careful, because that's your profession maybe, but a hobby is something which you do for your pleasure, isn't it?
Yes.
So when we come from the lower sections of the society, normally our intention is to pay back to the society. So what we expect from people like you, who came with a lot of hardship to such a level, isn't it? It's not easy. We understand from your background coming to such a position, that too from a district and from Chitvelu. I know Chitvelu. I know from Kadapa. So the question is, you came from a very low, humble beginnings, and our intention should be to pay back. And so that should be at the back of your mind. Because when we see your social background, we see whether you want to help your people or not. So that's very important. So that is the connotation which why I ask you this question. Okay. Coming to this Astro-Asiatic languages, they are the oldest languages in India, and they are the first people to come to India. But Gondi is not one. Gondi is from the Dravidian language sect. Okay. So these people are spreading in the Nicobari. They go to Australia. So it's a very widespread. It's a very widespread language family. Okay, but be clear about the places and the number of tribes. Okay, the Savar also belongs to that same thing.
Savara, Srikanth,
Yes.
Orissa border. Vijayanagaram, Orissa border.
Yes. So I ask a very important question here. This appears to be very simple. IVC versus Harappa.
Yes, sir. I didn't get why you asked.
But you have to think about, because I am asking very simple questions. Okay. So why did I ask such simple questions? So IVC and Harappa. Harappa is very old. In the sense, it is the first site discovered by, and it was not thought that it's a Indus Valley civilization like that. Indus Valley civilization name was given by Sir John Marshall in 1922. Okay, so that was the newer one. And also remember, Harappa and IVC, they don't, both the names will not cover the entire area. Because when they were discovered, those places were smaller. But today, you find up to Dimavabad in Maharashtra and Rupa, there are bigger places that are spread. Almost half of India, you find Indus Valley civilization.
The western part, Rajasthan,
Yes, sir.
Gujarat, Haryana. So you have a large number of these Harappan remnants.
Remnants. So here, IVC means Indus Valley civilization, but as a proud person from South India, the word you can see, Harappa, Hara plus Appa. Hara means Iswar. Okay, Appa is what? Is Ayya. So when you find that word Harappa, you feel just like it is mine. You understand? IVC is not yours. But when you hear the word called Harappa, because the male deity is there, Hara. That's the, you said that, okay. So the affinity, when we hear called Appa, Appa is a Dravidian word. So you find that, yes, I'm nearer to this. That affinity aspect is very, very important. Coming to the last one is about the continuity of the Harappan civilization. Actually, we know that there are many features which are continuing, but ultimately, if such a small question comes, normally you have to give a broader answer, not the specifics, like what is continuing. So you say that the type of the crops are continuing, religious things are continuing. No, that's not what is being expected at this level. What we expect is like Sunit Kumar Chatterjee. He has summed up the entire the contribution of Indus Valley civilization, the Harappan culture to the Indian culture. What he said is that in the form you find the Sanskrit influence, but in the content, more than 75% of the Indian culture is from Indus Valley civilization. So such a broader observations. So you have to catch up so that you can still impress the board members. Okay. So this is what I would like to add. And we thought that in the beginning that you are, just like Sir said, just you are at a very primary stage. But we found that when the interview unfolded, that you got a lot of metal, a lot of potential, and people like you should come to civil services so that you can contribute a lot. So Sri POOJA, I wish you all the best for your success.
Just one intervention, Sachinand Garu. Yeah, you finished. Yeah. Okay. Before you erase from your mind that earning money while you are a student by teaching, is a taboo. Well, I have a different viewpoint. While what Sachinand Garu, the other panel member, wanted to say was that you have to give back to the society. Once you start, living on a career and you earn money, give back, serve the society. But converting a hobby into a money spinner when you are trying to get money from somebody who can afford. For instance, a parent can afford to send his child to an international school, paying 3 lakh rupees. But then he also wants some home tuition from a person like you. And if you are charging a couple of thousands, for supplementing the coaching and earning money while you are a student, teaching assistantship is quite common. Of course, I don't know of that in Indian universities too much, but American universities, it's fine. And I also know of my son who used to, write blogs on cricket, football, and as a hobby, then he started making pocket money, and he was not asking me to that extent when he was a student of engineering, subsequently. So I think there is, it's not derogatory for you to ask for money as a student from people who can afford, to pay for that supplementary coaching. I thought I should put this perspective also in your mind to reconfirm that there's nothing wrong in teaching assistants and trying to make some pocket money to the extent reducing dependency on your father. I think that's okay. Sorry, next.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Somasekar.
I think your young and enthusiastic voice was quite engaging in conversations. I think there's a good clarity on some of these aspects of science, teaching, and issues on startups and women. I think since you are looking ahead, say 20, 30 years of India, the opportunities for women, greater participation of women, more gender equality. I think all these aspects would call in for, I think, focus on women-centric issues. So perhaps I think you should be more informed of all this and have better clarity and ideas. Beyond that, I think you are quite good material, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Sri Pooja, you have got feedback from all of us. At the end of which, is there anything you want to ask us?
Yes, sir. I wanted to ask if my answers were long. I think I got it from feedback, sir.
No, they were not long actually.
Comprehensive.
They were quite, they were warrant in the depends on the question, and the questions were such that they warranted that kind of answers. I don't feel them unduly long.
Yeah.
Did you get an impression that they were long, Pooja?
In one or two answers, I felt I'm exceeding the time, or am I boring
No.
the panelists?
On such occasions, of course, in a real interview, the visibility will be very clear. You will be able to see the body language, whether the member who asked, does he exhibit signs of boredom, or do other members exhibit signs of impatience by looking in some other direction or waiting for you to quickly end. If you get that impression, you quickly end, that's all. Much depends on the response.
Yeah, just to supplement, see, sometimes when the interviewer feels that, yes, you are on the right track, he would like to probe you more, and he will ask you to stop saying that, yes, I know you know, so that more time can be spent on some other areas of, your interest. So it should be taken in a positive side if you're asked to stop answering by the interviewer. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Thank you so
Anything-
much, sir.
Anything else you wanted to ask?
That's all, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, then we don't know when the interview will be. Yours, final Dholpur Haswali. And therefore, keep yourself well informed. Continue to read newspapers and also be in touch with the developments in Andhra Pradesh. You have become some kind of NRA, non-resident Andhra. So you better be in touch with developments. Are you planning to go back to Delhi? Right now you are in Hyderabad. Where are you now? You are in
Tadepalli, sir.
Tadepalli.
I came back.
So will you be there till the actual interview?
I'll go before 2 weeks of actual interview. I'll give some direct marks, sir, in person.
Okay. That's okay. So be continue to be in touch with all events, especially your home state. They expect you to know. You may not be expected to know much about Manipur or Arunachal Pradesh, but you are certainly expected to know about your home state of Andhra. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All the best then. God bless you.
Thank you, sir. I hope all of you stay safe. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye.